things I want to cover on this video. This is gonna kind of be a sporadic video because I'm not gonna have one specific focus. I'm gonna kind of go all over the place a little bit. So in jiu-jitsu, they have basic framing that they'll do. Like for instance, some people might call it the picture frame, but when you're framing your arms to, like if someone's trying to grab you at your neck and you frame to push away, you frame your arms to create this bigness and to push away. So we're gonna start with Wing Chun and kind of talk about the framing as far as Wing Chun is concerned. Now, there's a few different ways you can frame your defense, and this is kind of what we're talking about is defensive framing. But there's a few ways you can do that. One way is you can do more of a vertical frame, okay? And this is more like a jump sao type idea where you're coming here or coming here, just covering this up and down line right here, this imaginary line. The other way you can do is more horizontal, which is a lan sao or double lan sao. You see this in, actually you see this one in Seal and Tao, and you see this one right here in Chum Q. So there's different aspects where they show the idea of it. But so this would be one, this would be two, and then we'll go for a third frame, which is going to be more like, I'm going to use Quan Sao for this one. So we can do a high and a low, where this hand, this kind of low Bong Sao, can kind of cover the horizontal line, and then the Tan Sao can kind of basically cover the upper line, or if this is not a Quan Sao, it's actually a strike. I mean, if this isn't a Tan Sao, it could also be a strike too, but typically it's a Tan Sao on the inside instead of the outside. So from right here, if he's coming in and I want to frame his hands, usually I'll go over it though. So if he's coming in, I want to go and frame my hands here. This is going to be that first frame where I'm bringing the hands down. Obviously, there's things that we can do from there, but the idea is to put the hands in between, and you're not just sticking the hands up like this where he can just push and you're moving backwards, right? Because this is Wing Chun we're talking about right now. So there should be forward energy when he comes to push. There should be forward energy like so. Okay, so I should be giving him sinking and giving him forward energy like this. Now that covers one plane, right? The other one could be the lan sao here. Okay, and we'll just do this as a double. So maybe he comes in, whatever, and I'll throw in a lan sao. And this could even be he already grabs me right here, and I'm bringing this hand to create space with this lan sao like this. Okay, so he can't come all the way in. I'm just creating space, right? So it could be that also. But right now we're going to talk about just basically he comes in, grabs, right? And I can do this. I can also shift, okay, if I need to, doing lan sao too. But for the most part, the first two are going more directly in for the most part. The next one that I'm going to talk about real quickly is the Quan Sao. So that's basically, again, a Tan Sao and a Bong Sao. So in this case, we're going to use this off of a punch, right? So he comes in to throw a punch, and I'm going to come here, and I'm going to keep this hand here. So this can be, see how this is almost horizontal? So I'm covering both lines at the same time here, okay? And I'm relaxed. So let me do it on the other hand. So he comes in, and I'm coming here, and I want to cover that line. I don't want my Bong Sao to be low like this. I mean, you can do it this way, but you want it to be more this way for doing, if we're staying with the exact structure or shape, then you can do that. Now you can, if he punches, I can do it like this if I want to. This would be a different, it's almost like a view style that I'm doing back here almost, right? So this would definitely work. It's not that it won't work. And this could easily go into an arm bar, right? I can go here to strike, whatever. Okay, so on that, also, if he's giving me a lot of pressure forward, right, and I go to do this Quan Sao, okay? So he gives me a lot of pressure forward. I'm going to chop, and I'm also going to move. So I'm going to turn, and I want to go into him. If I don't go into him, he's going to take me off balance. If I just go here, yeah, he's just going to take me off balance like so. What I want to do is make sure I give forward energy. This is the main crux of Wing Chun, is that the frame is creating this space forward, okay? So you have to give forward energy, otherwise it doesn't make sense for you to even do it. There shouldn't be any collapsibility going on, really. Maybe if you need to collapse, that means you need to turn, not really collapse. You don't want to collapse, so it did it like that. Okay, so that is some basic framing. Now, in Tai Chi, they go into a lot of, I told you I'm going to go all over the place today. In Tai Chi, they go into a lot of different techniques that deal with framing. As a matter of fact, specifically in Tai Chi, they have something called small frame and large frame. We're not going to get deep into any of that because that's internal if you actually are thinking about what small frame and big frame are. Now, we could make it very external, so I could say small frame would be closer to like Wing Chun's small frame here, okay, where they're doing their techniques from here. Everything is small. This would be considered external small frame, if that makes sense. And then big or large frame would be basically Tai Chi's big movements, where they come here and they're like big expanded movements, right? And basically what those are for, the reason why they talk about that is to show extending someone out, and then also being able to keep yourself basically your focus. Small frame is like focusing them in, like a magnet and the sun. That's what small frame is like. You're the magnet, you're creating this focus to focus them in, and then you strike like the sun, so it intensifies your ability to do what you're doing. Large frame does kind of the opposite. It actually extends the person out, so it opens them up, extends them out, right? So there's a lot of movement to where if he's coming in, I come here, and I'm coming like this. I'm really extending him out, okay? That would be external wide frame, if you want to call it that. So that is basically framing. That's real a simple way of saying it, of talking about framing. Now we're going to get into something a little bit different. Speaking of framing too, from this kind of basically Lansao frame, or this horizontal frame, some of the striking that can emerge from that, being able to strike through here, striking through here. So you'll see a lot of this type striking kind of depends on the lineage, but so basically, yeah. See, and maybe if he gives me a push, I can turn, and that gives me a strike, or it gives me an elbow, depending on how close I am, right? So if I'm here and I create this, and even if I don't do this, but if I have here, I can turn, right, and strike low. So he comes here, I can just strike low, right? And then I can come here and strike high and turn. I'm just grabbing this other hand and striking. I can bring this back down and hit, okay? So all these type techniques kind of come out of this type of frame. So if he's coming in, I can come here, I might come underneath. A lot of times you'll see that, the striking from underneath. It's similar to when you're doing this strike in Busao, Buji, sorry. It's Busao's and Buji. So it's the same kind of idea, except you're doing now Fa Sao's or Sit Sao's, depending on what you want to say. You're going underneath and striking from here. So you use your elbow to whittle in, if that makes sense, okay? So if I want to show that from this position here, if he's giving me energy, I'm going to use my elbow to come in and then come back with the strike. If you notice, I'm using twisting of my body to change the motion using my elbow and then striking, right? So you do it. So I come in, twist. Yes. That's how it throws me off balance. Even though I'm grabbing, so you do the same thing. So this time you grab. Well, yeah, that's fine. You can do that. This makes it easier. If he grabs me at the throat, that's actually easier for me to chop him, right? But if he grabs my hands, is what I'm saying. Yes. So as I turn, I can come right. That creates my ability to take his grab off, right? Or if for some reason he keeps a hold of my grab and then I come here, I can still chop. It's kind of a funny thing because of the way you're moving. So he grabs, and as soon as I do this, see, it throws him off balance. So now I can come back, right? And the neat thing is, let's say he's grabbing really strong and straightening his arms, right? So I come here, now watch this. I can throw him back off balance, right? And that will allow me to come in, continue to come in, whatever, or I can just throw him back and kick if I want to simplify it, if I want to be real simple. He comes in, I come here maybe. I'll just go forward. So I come here, if his arms are really strong, I can throw a front kick, right? Okay, so I can come in. If I want to be really simple, I can just open this up by coming down here, right? Or I can just go, just bring my arms down in a jitsu like this, right? And then come up and push him away, maybe punch. But the idea is, if we stay with the same framing with Wing Chun, so he grabs me, if I just turn, right? And I want to turn really over the arm. So I can even do this. Does that make sense? I can use that hand to come in. Okay? Or if I want to stay with the same frame, I can turn, drop my elbow, chop, 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 right? Hit, chop. So you can do that. And all this stuff can just happen in a flash. It doesn't take a second for him to grab me. I'm coming in, he comes in, and I come in, he grabs me like this, and I just right? And I'm just hitting very easily and very quickly. So you can do it fast, or you can slow it down and move with the person's mechanics. So you notice I'm grabbing him kind of strong, trying to keep him from moving like this. I'm trying to hold him down like this. And all he has to do is turn and he can hit. Does that make sense? If he just turns, he'll have no problem. The nice thing is, one thing that I tell my students all the time, people can only grab in one direction at a time, okay? So they can only use energy strength in one direction at a time. If I change, I have to change where they're using strength. But they can't do it in all directions all at once. That's not possible. So if I'm here like this and I move, he's got to try and tighten against me back the other way. So if I move obviously, he should be able to stop me if I move obviously. See, if I just push this way, he should be able to stop me. But now if I don't use my arms to push, all I'm doing is turning my body. It's a completely different feeling. So he doesn't get the feeling to try and push me. Does that make sense? So if I'm here and I just rotate, it's much different. One, he's going against my whole body. Two, he doesn't get the feeling to push. So from here, if I want to jump out here, I can come in here like this. I can come in and strike, come down low, come up, take him whatever I'm wanting to do. But this is the idea. So and he's already off. Good. Too easy.
Oh, I didn't turn.
If they grab you, they grab you, it's too easy. The nice thing about being grabbed is they've just set themselves up, right? I mean, it's the easiest thing. If someone's choking you like this, instead of worrying about all this, really, all you have to do is like touch the face, touch the eye. I mean, unless their arms are, what's his name off Street Fighter, the yoga guy? Dalsim. Unless their arms are like Dalsim length, like this, and you can't reach them, you probably have to kick, right? But the idea is, if they've got both hands on you, you obviously would use a strike, because that would be obvious, right? So hopefully it'd be obvious. So anyway, that's basically what we're talking about when we're talking about frame. Now, one thing that I want to go over, I don't think I went over it that much, but when you're talking about Quan Sao and framing in a Quan Sao, we're dealing with hand over hand or rotating over the wrists, okay? So I'm going to have him demonstrate this actually real quick. So if he does a Quan Sao, go ahead and just do a Quan Sao. Just you actually do the Quan Sao. So if he does a Quan Sao, one thing that you want to have is, as much as possible, the wrists line up, okay? What that allows you to do is rotate, if that makes sense. if one wrist is too far, if you're at the elbow, then what that allows us to do is to trap the elbow. You understand what I'm saying? So if he's got both his wrists aligned, I cannot trap an elbow because he can move his hands as much as he wants. Yeah, see what I mean? Yes. Okay. But as soon as he has one in front of the other, right? It doesn't matter which one's in front. That allows me to be able to trap the elbow, and he can't do anything as far as with his hands, if that makes sense. Okay, not very well. He's a little bit trapped, is what we consider a trap. So anyway, from here, as long as he does this here, his quansile here nice and strong, then he can just rotate his hands. If I'm grabbing him, he can just rotate his hands. Yes, like that. Exactly. So if he traps right now, he's got my arm trapped for me. I can try to hit him with this, but it's going to be very hard, and he can just continue to manipulate, right? So this is the idea as far as that this is kind of a changing frame. This is why I wanted to talk about the quansile, because it allows the frame to change and rotate. Okay, this is what a lot of times people don't realize people are doing. Some people are doing Wing Chun and they're trying to grab the person, they're trying to trap at the arm, at the wrists from out here, okay? And they're trying to come in like this and then try to throw their move or try to lock their quansile from here. And it's just not a wise idea to do it from here, okay? From the wrist, just grabbing the arm right here and trying to punch, because he's still got his hand up here for one, and there's nothing trapped right here as far as I'm concerned. And his elbow, really, let's say that his arm is back here, right? And I've got this arm here. He's still got his elbow because it's away from his body. So he can still, he can still come in and start to whatever. So if I try to trap like this, it's not going to work, see? You see what I'm saying? Trapping out away from the body. You have to trap in the body and toward the body if you're going to be able to trap. If you have the opportunity to trap, is what I should say. So anyway, that's kind of the idea of quansile that I wanted to get.